and we've reached the end. So the only thing we need to do now is to create a release file, which shouldn't exist at the moment, but I'll check it anyway. No, so it's not there, so let's create that and create these LSB and OS release files and then modify them. So I'll just put my name in there. And same for the OS release one. So get counted, rebooting the system. So I'm going to log out. So it should unmount all those mount points. I'll put that in anyway. Oh right, it looks like it's probably unmounted. Oh no, it has unmounted them. Okay, I'm not quite sure why it does say unmounted, but it's done them. Boot needs to be unmounted, so let's unmount. Well, let's see what's left actually. Yeah, boot's still there, so I need to unmount MNT MLFS boot. In fact, it looks like possibly because these things like this boot haven't been unmounted, everything else is still there. So I'm just going to do a umount -RV, and that should be it now. Yeah, nothing's mounted. So that is the end. I'm not going to show the actual laptop screen as a little point, but I'll let it reboot. And yeah, you'll see it boot into the, when it comes up, I'll log into it, you'll see that it's booted into, I know you won't be able to actually because there's no SSH. Yeah, I'll have to set up the screen so you can see it boot. So I shall do that now. I'll come out of this and this, and in fact what I'll do is I'll go back in and shut the machine down so you can see it from power on. What's happened here? Mount point does not exist. Okay, looks like that. What I've done is confusing everything. Not to worry, I'll do a shutdown -H now, and right, hasn't given me a chance to log out. So yeah, I'll go and get the screen set up and we can see exactly what it looks like when it boots. Right, well I've just booted into the machine, and the first obvious problem I've had is that font that I set on the terminal is in fact incorrect. I was thinking about another one where there's a range of lat 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. fonts, but that terminal 16 I was using, it has only got lat 2 as I remember. It's got all the European glyphs inside it, so I need to change that. The other more severe problem I've got is that the HDMI is not being activated, so I can't actually do any screen grabbing at all. So what I need to do, I've got a suspicion what it might be. Obviously I didn't do complete testing before I did this. I didn't test that the screen grabber worked after the kernel had been rebuilt. So I'll have to play around with the kernel to get that to work. Well, hopefully I can get it to work. Otherwise that's going to be a major issue in doing GLFS because I won't be able to show the desktop. when we get a graphical environment up. So yeah, I need to sort that out. But what I've done, I've just rebooted the machine back to how it was with the new MLFS system as the kernel, the new MLFS kernel on the old root system. So that's why I'm back in Troot. What I'm going to do is to put that console font back. VIETC sysconfig console. So change that back to what it should have been. Trying to be a little bit too clever there. And I'm going to put the the host one back as well. Should have done that before I went in actually. Okay, so I've got it going. What it turned out to be was I'd pre-selected the NVIDIA graphics driver in the kernel for this laptop, despite the fact that I originally had the Intel driver working because I prepared it for the GLFS, but the NVIDIA driver in the kernel is the Nouveau driver and is obviously quite basic, so it seems like it wasn't driving the HDMI, and I didn't know, or don't know if there's any way of getting that to work. So what I've done, I've compiled back in the Intel driver as a module, and I've blacklisted the NVIDIA, or rather I should call it the Nouveau driver, so that the Intel driver activates, and that activates the HDMI. Now, whether when I come to install the real NVIDIA binaries in GLFS, whether that actually activates the HDMI or not, I don't know. So I'll have to see when I come to do that. But as you can see, the screen capture is working. This is the screen on the laptop that you can see. If I log in as Kernotex, we can see straight away that MLFS is the host name. If I change into sources and then, for example, BLFS, you'll be able to see there that the links directory is still there with today's date and time. So I'll move that while I'm here. And the wget still works as well. As you can see, it says missing URL because I've not passed it anything. So yeah, this is it basically. There's not a lot I can do with this apart from maybe see if the commands for testing 32-bit are still here. No, they're not, unfortunately. Let's see if I can locate that in the manual and see if I can get that to compile the 32-bit. Just get the manual up. If I can find which part it was. Prerequisites. Right, okay, I've got it. So I need to do echo int main to dummy.c. So that's the code. And then, alright, okay, GCC minus M32 to tell it to use 32-bit. Oh, I didn't close the quote there, did I? gcc -m32 dummy.c, and yeah, it's compiled, there's been no errors, and I should be able to run this as well now. And yeah, it's run and hasn't done anything, but there's no errors. So that shows the 32-bit libraries are working. Well, the compiler is compiling 32-bit, and the 32-bit libraries are in use by doing those two commands. So that's a good start. So that is the end of MLFS from scratch. I guess I should show, let's see, LS CPU shows we're still on this laptop. I don't know if there's anything specifically that will show that we're in a multilib environment in the kernel messages. Let's look at 32. Grep 32. There's too much there really. But there should be in lib, I take it, there should be lib 32. Is it not here? No, alright, I thought there was something called lib 32. Maybe it's just something internal that I've seen. But anyway, as you can see, it is definitely compiling in 32-bit, and it's definitely running 32-bit. And as you saw from LS-CPU, we're on a it does say their CPU op modes 32-bit and 64-bit, so I suppose that shows that the kernel's configured to run 32-bit. But certainly you can see by the processor details it's a 64-bit processor. There's nothing else here that indicates what it's capable of. Certainly this bit's good. Oh yeah, architecture, there it is there. So 64-bit architecture, and the CPU's configured to operate in 32-bit and 64-bit. I presume that is the kernel, like I say. Unless it's just the capabilities of the CPU, I don't know. But yeah, so we're ready to go with GLFS in the next series of videos. So I hope this series of videos about building multilib LFS has been useful, and appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Just click on the icon in the bottom right and drop me a message. I try to read messages when I can, and reply to a few of them if I have time. So thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.